everyone. Welcome back to Keeping Up With The Chaldeans. I'm Anthony Toma, your host, along with Esty Elias, my very special co-host in many ways, the master.
Okay.
She's proven her worth so far these last few episodes.
Thank you.
We're here with Joseph Babi, right here in the middle. For Joseph Paul Digital Media. It's SEO specialist company. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization, and he's the man. So why don't you kick us off by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the SEO business?
Yeah, so I actually went to school for accounting. You can imagine that I don't do much with that anymore. I actually read a book on how to develop an iPhone app and immediately quit my job after and developed an iPhone app, racked up a bunch of credit card debt, borrowed money from my brother. And by the time it was released, I didn't have any money to market it. So I actually researched on how to do SEO on my own because that was the cheapest way to do it at the time. And when you did it by yourself. And so through my SEO work, I was able to get the app to go to number 12 in the United States, number 7 in Japan, and like number 3 in the Ukraine. So
wow,
it was pretty cool. And to me, it just proved like, oh man, this thing's real. And so I enjoyed it so much that I just started doing it for other companies. And, 7 years later now, we're, here we are. So.
Very nice. So search engine optimization, for the audience out there that doesn't know what that is or means, kind of explain what it is, how it works, and how you utilize it to benefit businesses that hire your agency.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people, when you hear them say, Google it, right? And so usually when they say Google it, it's because you have a question. And usually when you have a question, there's a purchase that's going to happen at the end of that question. And so what we do is we actually do the research to see what questions people are asking Google and actually put those answers onto your website so that Google wants to feed your website as an answer. So you're getting like really highly targeted people that are interested in what you do. So let's say, for example, I'm doing work for Amber Valley right now, and I'm doing the SEO for his website. When someone he called me yesterday and he said someone searched mortgage broker near me, and he was the one. He said that's how they found me, and so that's like the power of SEO.
Wow. That's amazing. I am just like so impressed with, you mentioned earlier you got to like number 12 in the US. Can you tell us more about like that excitement and that feeling? I mean, you're a huge asset to our community having this knowledge, and you're probably the only Chaldean that has an app that was number 12. So can you just tell us more about like that moment and just that chapter of your life?
Yeah. So it was a very scary moment, very unsure of what was going to happen with it. Right. And so just managing the app itself and the development of it, because I'm not a developer. I'm really good at managing people, and then I learned SEO. So I actually went through some trials where the people that were developing my app liked it so much that they tried to run up the costs and steal it.
Whoa.
And so, or own part of it through an angel investor. And so fighting that for a year and a half, and then I think I was like 24, 25 at the time. So wasn't mature enough to handle that kind of situation. But once we did finally get it out and we actually won, getting it to number 12 was like super exciting because through the SEO work, I was able to get interviewed by Channel 7 News. I was able to get interviewed by TechCrunch. And so they actually featured me as like one of their favorite apps because it was an alarm clock. It was during daylight savings time, or whenever you leap forward, whatever that one's called, where you actually had to play a game to turn off this alarm. So the alarm would go off, there's no snooze, and you had to play tic-tac-toe, or there was a lever game.
Or I've seen people do that. Like they'll like be, playing a game to, so that was your app.
So yep, that was my app.
That's incredible, and you should be so proud of yourself. There's people that probably spend millions of dollars on their company and it doesn't get to, top 20. And like the fact that you as a 24-year-old are just, this is your first time doing it. And so, yeah, that's
Yeah. I attribute it to reading books. Like I said, I read a book and it taught you how to build it to how to market it.
I need to read more books, Anthony.
Audio books are my thing.
Yeah. So what does your company right now? It's Joseph Paul Digital Agency.
Yep.
Tell us like what you offer.
So right now what we offer is and like our main focus is SEO. So what SEO does is some people mistaken it for when you pay to get on the top of Google. Well, we make sure that you show up organically, right? And the reason why we do that is because once you start to build a brand, the bigger brands that have more spend than you will actually come in and spend money on your brand name. So there's a brand called Oliver Thomas here in Birmingham. And so Lululemon and Wilson will both actually bid on their name. So when people search Oliver Thomas on Google, you'll actually see ads for Lululemon.
Oh, I see.
And Wilson and Nike. And so she's never going to be able to outspend Lululemon or Nike or Wilson. So when you go organic, you can actually build this moat where it actually takes time and effort to show up on the first page of Google for those key terms.
So who is Oliver Thomas?
So Oliver Thomas is a tennis bag brand that's based in Birmingham. And so their big thing is that their bags are stylish, but they're also machine washable. So it's a bag that you can actually take to the tennis court and then go to Commonwealth after and show off the bag.
And you handle their SEO?
So we're in the talks right now, and so that's why I know so much information about them.
Yep.
I've had some pretty cool, interesting clients. So if you're...
Do you want to share some of those?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
So if you're familiar with the NFL, Sean Springs, who was a Pro Bowl cornerback, actually started in an engineering company, and he was probably my third client. And so they actually invented these helmets that inflate, like they inflate and deflate depending on how hard you get hit.
Oh my gosh.
It's like an airbag.
Yeah, it's an airbag, right, for your head.
For a helmet. Yeah, for your head.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were able, and it was funny because at the time I was working for General Motors, and that's how I met him. He actually went to my LinkedIn and said, hey, I just noticed you did SEO. Do you want to do mine?
Okay.
Which was really crazy for me.
Yeah.
And so I honestly really truly think that's like, that was in God's hands that I was able to make that connection.
So what's the process from start to finish for a client? And then what does a client need to have in order for them to get started developing an SEO or a footprint or an electronic footprint so that people can find them? Yeah.
So I think what's most important is the foundation. Is your website built soundly? And it's a real shame because I looked through so many websites and people just throw up websites and cosmetically they look great, but the foundation is off. And so the foundation of your website is really important. So that's why we also do web development, because if we can't get the foundation of the website, you're just throwing money down the drain.
Yeah.
And so first we make sure that the website has a good foundation and loads very fast. Google is super, super interested in fast loading websites for mobile users. They actually want you to load in like 2 seconds on 3G phones. And so we start from there. And then after we do that, a customer would need to know who their customer is and what they want to get out of the customer. So some people just say, I want more customers. Well, you sell 10 products. Which products do you want to sell, right? And which products are the easiest to sell and which ones are the most profitable? And so from there, you got to make a decision on what you want to sell. And then from there, we do actually do the research to find out what questions are being asked around those products.
Yeah.
So that way we create that brand awareness for you and lead them into your sales funnel so that you can sell them. And the beauty part is that these people are warm. They're actually actively searching for what it is that you sell. And so if you know Zaid Zato from Signature Insurance, he is...
I don't.
Oh, great guy. Probably should bring him on the show. Zaid, come on. So
take that step, Zaid. Just fill out the application.
So he gets a bunch of leads from like my Google My Business. So that's the map pack that you see. And we manage that. And so now when people are searching home insurance near me, or maybe they're searching requirements to get a mortgage, or insurance requirements to get a mortgage, they're getting the information from him. So who do you think they're going to contact if they're going to follow through with what they're researching?
That's amazing. What was I going to ask you? Sorry, it like slipped my mind. How do you feel about this? Is like a little more off topic, but it's like in the digital space, but like with this whole joke that like you'll talk about something and then it'll come up as an advertisement. You want to talk, because that's actually happened multiple times. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that phenomenon that's going on?
It's funny because I'm part of a group of guys that do digital marketing, right? And so I actually brought this up to them, and they're Facebook ads and Google ads guys. And so what they've actually brought up is that it's not about, they're not listening to your phone,
Okay.
but what they are doing is geofencing you. And so right now they're geofencing me, and I'm next to you, and I'm next to you.
Okay.
And so now they're making assumptions that you and I have similar interests because we're about to spend an hour together, and they're going to assume that you and I have similar interests because we're about to spend an hour together.
Geofence, like our phones are talking to each other, kind of?
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
like right now, Facebook has our location, whether you like it or not. And so
Get me off of there.
and so they understand that, all right, they spent a good amount of time with these people in one spot. They haven't moved. He's probably having a conversation with them. They've probably talked about similar topics. And so we're gonna test out and see what ads we can feed this person
That's
to see what
creepy.
similar interests they have.
That's very creepy.
So I think that's what's happening. I don't think they are
You
actually
don't think
listening.
they're listening? Because one time I said something that it was very, very, very rare and specific, and it popped up on my Instagram ads, and it
Really?
was actually a company I worked for 5 years ago, and I said to my friend I never talk about it. I said it to her on the phone. I was like, hey, remember when I worked for blah, blah, blah? And then I popped.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So were you at the location, or were you
No, it
close?
was like, so it was in Oklahoma. I worked for a company in Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah. No, that's really weird because like I've noticed it too, where you run into someone that you haven't seen in forever,
Yeah.
and then you'll notice on your Facebook feed that you start to see more of their updates.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's crazy.
It's a wild world. Well, I was going to say earlier too I think it's incredible what you've been able to accomplish given you didn't study. You said you studied accounting,
Yeah.
not marketing, not like digital advertising, not like, anything like that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's what I like about SEO. It's hard to learn, but it's learnable.
Okay.
Right, and it's a mix between being a nerd and being social. So actually, if you ever heard the term "read the room,"
Yeah.
it's being a nerd with data, but also being able to read the room and seeing where people are going. That's what I love most about it.
It's a lot of numbers, really. It's weird to put it that way because it is words, and you are trying to focus on a keyword, but it's the data behind all of the words that are being searched for and the number of times, and it's an equation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
True. Numbers, accounting.
Mhm.
I see where you're getting that.
So and like some people will get afraid when we show them, like when I told you we do the keyword research.
Mhm.
Well, we give you the words, but we also give you the projected traffic that's going to come from those words. And sometimes the traffic says 0
Yeah.
because there's just not enough data out there.
Mm-hmm.
But being an SEO, and this is where it's reading the room, this is where it's part art, where
Yep.
you find out like, hey, I know it says 0 people are searching it, but this is a highly profitable word, and we can tell just based on past experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you were to say, modeling agency, Birmingham,
Yep.
I guarantee you that's going to be a 0 search term, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are people in Birmingham that are probably searching that.
Yep.
And so the ROI on that word with the amount of competition it has is going to be through the roof, especially since you have a physical location in Birmingham.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How did your family, how do you explain to your aunts and uncles and your parents, what do you do, in Chaldean terms? They're like,
Yeah.
what the hell are you doing on your computer?
Yeah, exactly. So
All
they,
day.
yeah, that's funny you bring that up because I'll have family members call me and be like, "Hey Joe, my computer broke." Well, I'm not an engineer,
I know. I feel like we associate you're a tech guy.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
So yeah, with my immediate family, it was kind of weird when I first quit my job. So I went from an accounting job to doing the iPhone app to going to GM, and then I quit the GM job, and both my brothers at the time worked at GM. And I kind of did it in secret because my family is they're super caring and they're they're risk averse when it comes to other people. And so I was like, if I don't do this in silence, I'm never gonna do it.
Wow.
And
Silence.
So my brothers actually found out through the grapevine that I quit my job at General Motors.
No way.
And like my parents didn't
So
know
bad.
for like 2 weeks because I would wake up and act like I'm
Go.
going to work.
Yeah.
So Chaldean. I feel like every Chaldean has something they have to hide in one chapter of their life.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yours was that you quit your job. Oh my God, you went to work. I'm dead. That's hilarious.
That's funny.
So it kind of kept that discipline of waking up early going for me at least. So it wasn't all bad. It wasn't that tough.
So being in the SEO space for so long, what are some of the products or services that you've developed for yourself? I mean, I would assume that most people that are really, really good at the SEO side of things can pitch a product or service without touching it, right?
Yeah. So I'm actually working on a few things. So just like similar to, real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are investing into real estate to get passive income.
Mm.
I think that there's digital real estate, right? And so there's a thing called affiliate marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm able to do is actually blog about products and recommend them. And then every time someone buys those products, we get a cut,
Right.
right? And so before I wasn't doing it because I didn't really have a team
Mm-hmm.
behind me because it's a lot of work to do SEO between writing, keyword research.
You can hire all those people though.
Yeah, exactly.
There's third party assets out there everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So going from solopreneur to actual entrepreneur
Mhm.
is what made that shift. And so now what I'm trying to do is build up my digital real estate where I'm actually doing product reviews and actually
Very cool.
getting a cut of those sales,
Yeah.
right, that we drive. And so we have a product like that, and then I have a few other businesses that I'm going to be starting up where we're actually, because half my team's in Mexico, we're going to be selling a product. Don't want to just divulge it just yet in
Yeah.
Mexico because it's not widely available in Mexico.
Gotcha.
So I'm slowly making that transition from not from client work, but I'm starting to balance out my portfolio between client work and personal
Mhm.
products.
So you mentioned part of your team. Where's the other part of your team, and maybe a partner or that you want to shout out? Or
Yeah. So in terms of part of my team is in Mexico, and they're spread across Mexico.
Mhm.
And then I have writers that are in California for particular niches, and then I have writers on the East Coast for the financial sector of my business. So we're talking mortgages, insurance, financial services, and logistics. So
Mhm.
I'm doing quite a bit of work with a big logistics company down in Atlanta, right? A couple of them.
So you mentioned earlier before we started rolling about translating a website or building a website in a different language.
Yeah. So I have clients out in San Diego that actually have a big Mexican market out there.
Mhm.
And so because my team is Mexican, they all went to elementary school in 100% English. So they all speak fluent English.
Yeah.
And then, but they also are Mexican, so they speak fluent Spanish, and they all understand SEO. So what we actually do, if you ever see those buttons where you press it for Spanish or press it for English, we're actually able to organize the websites so to do Spanish SEO and English SEO and not have them compete against
That's
each other.
amazing.
And so I'm actually doing that currently in Arabic for St. Joseph right now.
Really?
So I try to donate, for the past 3 years, I've donated a website to a church.
Mhm.
Wow.
So I did St. George
I love
during
that.
COVID.
Cool.
I did St. Joseph, but they didn't really have the infrastructure to manage it.
Mhm.
So now we're redoing it. And so it's going to be translated into Arabic and to English
Wow.
because most of their parishioners only
Yeah.
speak Arabic or Chaldean.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You know what it is I don't think there's a font that supports Surah.
We need to create
Right.
that.
Yeah. So I don't know how to write either of them.
Yeah.
I'm still struggling with English. That's why I hire writers.
Amazing.
So we try to donate a website to a church. And then so I actually spent some time in Mexico this year also where they said they had a large American population that actually visits.
Mhm.
And so we actually help them translate their website into English. So now that when American speaking people are in
Oh.
town, they can actually know when masses are and actually go to
That's
the English
very, very
masses.
cool.
That's
awesome.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the philanthropy aspect. That's so important. Wait, how do you manage all these things? Like, You just mentioned like 20 different
Yeah.
things that you do. How do you manage all of that?
So we have great systems. I'm going to give a shout out to Maria. She's my rock star project manager. She is so organized. So
We love
if you look at her email, it looks like a bag of Skittles broke inside of her email because she's got everything so labeled and color coordinated.
That's amazing.
That's
And
cool.
then, the philanthropy is probably the coolest part because I never thought I'd be doing it. So I'm actually wearing my jersey from Inkawa.
I saw that. Tell us about that.
So through the Shlama Foundation, I don't know if you've met Noor through the Shlama
Of course,
Foundation. He said, hey, the villages aren't communicating with each other. They're not really intermingling. So let's start a soccer league and get some sponsors. And so...
Get them to hate each other even more.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually funny. It's a funny story. Two of the teams actually got into a fight.
Of course.
And Noor actually stopped the game,
Oh,
made them sit down and have chai together,
wow.
hang out until they actually shook hands
That's
and
amazing.
cooled off,
That's
and then
amazing.
had them play again.
That's phenomenal.
It's awesome. So
That's a great story, actually.
it's pretty cool.
The
So,
chai.
Yeah.
We'll start having chai with people we don't like.
Yeah,
Chai time. I'm
Yeah,
keeping up.
chai time. So it's
Join us for chai time.
it's pretty cool because I never thought that I'd have my name on a jersey, let alone be able to do
Aw.
something to do good
Yeah.
back in Iraq.
So is Paul your middle name?
Yeah, Paul is
Yes.
my middle name.
Okay.
So awesome.
So if they search Joseph Paul Digital Agency,
Yeah,
you'll come up, right?
of course.
How else will they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram.
Mhm.
It is, I think it's JPDA_SEO.
Okay.
You can find me on Facebook, but I'm mostly active on LinkedIn because it's I'm not cool
B2B.
enough to be on Instagram, and plus that's also where my demographic is.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you can find me at jpda.co. So, not .com.
Yeah, CEO.
Amazing.
Yes.
Company.
Wait, speaking of this, did you go to Iraq?
No, you
Oh,
know
okay.
what? They got third place. I said, hey, if they're gonna play for the championship, I got to make my way out there.
Wow.
I would definitely do it again next year, and I encourage anybody that wants to help out. This was a fantastic way to do it, and you get to get the jersey that feels good. And just hearing the stories and seeing the videos of the thank you notes that came from the teams is pretty
That's
cool.
cool.
That's really sweet.
So who translated the notes for you?
The they did video notes,
Oh, okay.
so no one translated it.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha.
luckily mine was in English. I
Oh,
got to see
beautiful.
one other one.
Gotcha.
That whole
so
one was in Arabic.
Funny question. When you were younger, did you see yourself in this space?
I was always the black sheep,
Okay.
so I always did things differently. So while like my brothers were, worried about the store or going out with friends, I was playing on the computer, tinkering around with Photoshop or figuring out how to build a website.
So you do know how to build a computer.
I don't know. Yeah.
He fixes them now.
Yeah, by default, I know how to fix Wi-Fi at a minimum.
So funny. Okay, so who inspired you growing up to be in this digital world?
You know what? I read a lot of Tim Ferriss's blog, and that's where I actually found the book to do the app.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually found a group on Facebook that is just a bunch of guys that were learning how to start marketing agencies. And so I kind of joined that. It took the leap of faith, and like I'm really big on if you can pay to be in a group of people who are committed to their craft, do it.
That's amazing.
And so I did that, and then I was starting to have a hard time with, the sales portion of it. And I got to give a shout out to Simon Matty. So the guy is amazing when it comes to business, and he actually runs IoT Today. They set up cameras and
What's IoT?
IoT Today, Internet of Things. So if you want to come in and automate everything inside your house,
Yep.
he's the guy to talk to. He
Wow.
is a complete nerd about that. So
Amazing.
he was helping, build out spaces with, the key cards that help you get in and out of the door, automatic camera systems, all that stuff. He's amazing at it. He's a complete nerd about it.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So anyways,
More all residential, not commercial.
he does
Or both?
commercial.
Oh, commercial
Yeah,
and
commercial. And he also does multifamily, right?
Oh,
So if you're
beautiful.
building a multifamily,
Gotcha,
you can
gotcha.
definitely do that too.
Cool.
But anyway, so he actually helped me out with the business front of it. And so I have to give him a big shout out. And then I would say just having the opportunity through my brother. So
That's cool.
my brother actually loaned me the money to do
Oh, I
to do
love
the
that.
app, and without that, I don't think I would have ever learned SEO, and those dominoes would have never fell.
That's a great sibling. Something that just popped in my head is what's your opinion of this whole NFT real estate, crazy Wild West?
I think I honestly, I think a lot of it's a scam, and I think it's going to be forced into some type of value at some point. I think the NFT space is going to get bigger in the video game space.
Okay.
So when you're in Grand Theft Auto right now, you can buy an apartment, right? But everyone can buy that apartment.
Yeah.
But now if it's an NFT, you're the only one that owns that apartment, and then it's an actual real estate on Grand Theft Auto or whatever game it is that you're playing. Or if you're playing Call of Duty, you have that special gun that no one else can own, but you own it, right? So it could increase in value at that point. So I see NFTs value outside of money laundering and video games.
Yeah. They say that you'll be able to buy real estate with NFTs.
Yeah, and I can see NFTs being NFTs and Ethereum being contracts, right?
That's wild.
So you will get an NFT deed to a house, right? And that's going to be logged throughout the world, and no one can steal that document from you, right? It'll always say that you are the owner of that house, right? But outside of those use cases, I don't understand it enough.
It's not understandable, I feel like.
It's digital art.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So we like to close the show with a very important question, and that is, what does it mean to you to be Chaldean?
Oof. I think what it means to me, it means accountability. I remembered growing up not really appreciating being Chaldean because like you do anything and everyone knows about it type of situation, right? What I noticed once I started traveling is that when you have no accountability, you really don't have that moral compass. And I think having that moral compass as a Chaldean is what actually brings value to being Chaldean. Is like it's almost like you have a community of parents rather than just your parents or your siblings, right?
Yeah.
So we still have that village. It takes a village to raise a child. I think we still have that village mentality where we want to see each other do well.
Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful answer.
That's a great answer.
We haven't heard that one before.
That's so true. The moral compass. I do feel like our community, it's like you're set with moral values.
Yeah.
When you're in, so that's amazing.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for sharing the SEO space with the audience. If you guys want to promote your products, services, business, get an electronic footprint, call this man, Joseph Paul Digital Agency. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.